obsession always to make the most hardcore, out there action film that you could do?
So, a story came from a personal experience. I did not write this. When I was in when I was studying, I had to travel almost around 40 hours to reach my university. I mean, that would by train and 2-3 times a year. So it happened like a couple of times, like when I was traveling, and in the train there was like at that time, this is way back in 90s. So there would be 2-3 cars which were first class cars, and the rest were sleeper class. So sleeper class, it meant like you had a window and you could just open the window and sleep by the next to the window. And I was a student, so I could not afford it first class. My father like me out. So one such night, while I was blissfully sleeping, the cars which were like one ahead of me, which was a first class car, and one which was behind me, both were being looted. And when I got up in the next morning when I got up, the train was stranded at some place, and there were cops all around. And then I got out and got to know that some 20-25 bandits had gone and just looted it around. So it just remained in somewhere. I don't know, it just remained over there, and that is the genesis of the story.
And how did you, so there's two things I love about it. One is how tight and incredibly choreographed your action is. And then the other is how stylish the camera is. Did you develop the two together? Did you work with choreographers, or was it something you storyboarded and then, just started working on?
We storyboarded, we did previs, and not just once, we did previs 2-3 times with the action choreographer. Also, it was a very challenging shoot because we were just stuck in one, like we just built 2 cars as said. And the 2 cars which we built was with the same material with which the train is built. So it was almost like, so we shot for around 77 days, and for all those 77 days we were stuck in those 2 cars. 2 claustrophobic man. So, yeah, we just had 2 hours. We had some 4 months, 2 months. So, but the thing was that we made a set which was almost collapsible, and it could come back in like Transformers, and in the same shot. And what we did was we put a kind of a trail at the ceiling, and we mounted our cameras over there. And there was no steady cams used in film. I think there was just 1 or twice we tried to use Steadicam, but it used to get stuck. So we said there's no point of using Steadicam. So we mounted the camera on the ceiling, and we used the camera which would go. It had a kind of a scissor crane. So it would go in and then turn right and then come back, and at the same time the wall would go back and then come in. So there was a lot of technical thing, and that's why we had to do a lot of R&D before that. And we did almost around 8 to 9 months of prep.
That's amazing. You get a real sense of movement within the train. And amazing you say it's only 2 cars.
Yeah, only 2 cars. Only 2 cars, 2 cameras, 1 dude.
Was there any point at which you thought, I think the violence has gone too far, there's no way I'm going to get away with this?
No! I wanted more. That's, I'm going to reserve for kill 2.
Well, that would be my next question.
Yes, I answered it beforehand.
Right, I'm going to open it up to the audience. Oh, great. So we'll go here, and then there, and then there. Start there.
I just got a quick, easy one. What was your favorite kill out of all the ones in the movie?
The one in the washroom. that was the most difficult one actually, because the space was it was a really small space, and we had to open up everything, and that kill was special.
There was one there.
Yeah, so that was my question.
Sorry, man.
No, it's okay. I guess quickly, coming up with a question off the top of my head, you had a lot of great choreography going on with all those. Is there any which of those actors you came into this being like, yeah, I know what I'm doing, I'm like really good.
None of them.
It was like really good.
None of them. Actually, none of them. Because we trained for almost 3 months.
Okay.
The actors Laksh and Abhishek, the one who were playing the commandos, so they have a different kind of a style, because they're playing commandos, and commandos in India, they're trained in almost 6 to 7 different action styles, like martial arts. And the rest of the 45 goons, the street fighters. So they didn't have any style. So we had to create something which would match, both of them when they were fighting each other. They had, so there was actually, when we were referencing for the film, there were no references. So we had to make our own style. Probably for the next film, we'll have a reference.
So you did a great job. Good job.
Thank you.
There's one at the back there. Yes.
Hi, Nikhil.
Hi.
I was wondering, I noticed some of the cultural references in the spoken dialogue were changed for, like the Kohli reference was changed for Ronaldo. And I was curious as to what the thought process was behind who you chose and for what purpose to make it more accessible to American audience.
So, Kohli is a very renowned cricketer in India, and I don't think a lot of people in the West would know who Kohli is. So that's the reason why, in terms of popularity, Ronaldo is the one who's like as popular as Kohli. So I know it doesn't sound like Ronaldo when he speaks, but that was the reference point.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh wow, lots of questions. There's one at the back there. Yes.
So one of the most striking thing about this is people grieve in this movie. In a lot of action movies, it's just, it's the action, the death, but the heroes and the villains on both sides, people are genuinely upset when people they care about die. How do you track the emotional landscape through the course of this movie?
For me, the film is more about emotion than the action. Action is a byproduct. So, in the first half, you see the passengers, Amrit, Tolika, all terrified because of the bandits. And in the next half, tables overturn. And they get the taste of the same medicine which what they were trying to do. So I feel grief, guilt, helplessness, these are great emotions, and what Amrit used all these emotions in anger. And that's how this kind of a violence erupted from him. And that is the reason why these emotions are extremely strong emotions. And I was very cognizant about the fact that the film needs to be an emotional film more than just action, because we can have action pieces one after the other. But if it is not backed by emotion, then what is the point of making an action film?
There's one right at the back there.
The emotion question that you guys were talking about, it definitely hit really well. At what point in the story script writing process did you decide that you're going to kill the love interest halfway through the movie? Because that's like the psycho
That was the first thought actually. Yeah,
thought.
yeah, that was the first thought, because otherwise we wouldn't have this film. No, seriously, that was the first thought.
Excellent. So that opening title card was the best place.
Yes. Thank you.
It's very unusual for an Indian film to kill love interest. So it comes as a real shock to anyone who loves the genre, because we
Yes.
expect him to rescue her. And
Yeah. I'm a little cynical actually.
but it works out well.
Yeah, yeah. So you know what? When I was writing, I was that was the first COVID wave. During the first COVID wave, and I was inside one room, claustrophobic, stressed, insecure. I think all those emotions have come out.
Right there.
Actually, kind of going off that question, like, honestly, what a really striking moment is just waiting until that halfway point where things have just turned and they're at their lowest to drop the title of the film. I was really curious, like, what your thought process was behind that, why you kind of saved it for this, like, big moment.
Because one, that's the correct place, that's the opportune time to drop the title, because from there onwards everything changes. Like the train changes its track, the story changes its track. It's pretty evident. Also the fact that so my editor Shiv Kumar and I, we were we were discussing about that, and there was not a correct time to drop the card. Like it couldn't have happened in the beginning, it couldn't happen in the end. So from where the actual brutal action starts happening was the correct place. And to be very honest, that was from the first cut, the title card was there. So it didn't change. It didn't change at all.
Yeah, it was a really, really good decision. I always love when movies do that.
Cool. Let's go at the back there.
So the score, sometimes there were scenes where it was like the score and the sound of the hits and the edit were all this incredible rhythm all together. And I was wondering if you could speak about the way you edit to sound and create the this brutal, it was almost like music with the fists hitting and the way that it played off of your composers.
Actually, I'm blessed because my producers are visionaries, and they are the best producers, so they got the best actuaries to make the film. So, so my sound designer Subhash Sahu and the mixing engineer Bulay, who's also the mixing engineer of Triple R. So they are the ones who are behind this, and they made sure that because there's a lot of sound, the sound of train, the sound of action, the sound of people screaming, and the music. So what we did was we wanted those specific moments to get enhanced. Like for example, I'm just giving an example, that huge burly guy, Siddhi, his punches were 0.2 dB high. And you might not even realize it, but in the totality of it, that was specifically kept like that so that he looks and he sounds more powerful. So all these decisions were done. I'm really thankful to my sound designers and the mixing engineers who've done this. Also the score, Ketan Soda, he's got the he's got only 4 people in his team, and that's how we designed this entire film. So what he did, what you see in the scene when just after, the first time he starts killing, that portion, that entire soundtrack is the song, which is being, which you hear it later, which is made by Vikram Montrose. And he broke the song, just picked up the stems and put it up as the background music. So he tore it apart and put it in. So it's full marks to him. Like it's his work that what he came up with. Yeah, I'm blessed.
So we got time for one, maybe two more. Who thinks they have a really good question? Brave souls. All right, I'm gonna go there. Yes.
Hi, I think one of my favorite aspects of the film was that we got to see the interior of the train in so many different ways, with the way that you changed all the props, all the camera work, the lighting, and the way that different actors interacted with the space in the train. And I was really curious about how you're able to come up with so many different ideas.
Sorry.
I was curious about how you're able to come up with so many different ideas for changing the way that we saw the interior of the train.
So my DOP, he lied to me. He's a scientist. He's not a DOP. So he came up with. His name is Rafi Mahmood. He's amazing. Like he came up with the brilliantest ideas. Like to put the camera on the ceiling, and so there is, because our set was like such a small set. There was no place for lights to come in. So what you see in the lights at the top are the only lights which are being used in the film. So he designed equipment. He made sure that the constraints of the set are used to its optimum. And if you notice, like what happens is after the title card drops, slowly the lights start becoming grim and more grim as the story progresses further. So it's all credit to him. He's a magician. He lied, I know that.
All right, final question. Let's go there.
How many of all the kills were on the script on the page versus how much did you come up with when on set or like when you're in pre-production? Like, were they all on the page or?
I had more kills on the script. I dropped
deleted scenes.
No, I'm serious. I dropped 3. Right, I had to drop 3 because it was just, I think, right amount of killers in there.
Look, a huge round of applause for